peeps? It's Great White making it happen again today with some more Portal Nights. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I'm having a great day myself. And today, we're going to be looking at something pretty cool, I would say. For the longest time, I've been trying to solve this problem. How do I count inputs? How do I count how many enemies have been killed? If we have, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 enemies. If we have a bunch of enemies down here, how do I count when they get killed? Because when they die, they'll send an input. But how do I make something that says, here's 1 input, here's 2 inputs, 3 inputs, 4 inputs, 5 inputs? That's something that I've been struggling with quite a lot, and I've finally kind of come to a conclusion. It's not perfect, but it does the job well enough. And I want to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So here's some enemies. Let's jump into test playing this island really quick. Alright, here we are. We are in the test world. We're test playing it. We're in not creative mode, but test world mode. And here's how this works. So I toggle this on. And that shoots those. If I press this button, we spawn our enemies. Now, I'm not going to go into 100% detail here, but basically what's going on is each of these guys... Oh no, they want to kill me. Each of these guys is hooked up to its own SR latch. And the SR latch is currently on. That top layer turns them on. Okay, so when they die, they send a signal. And that signal is sent over. And it turns off the SR latch. Ah! Ah! Excuse me. Anyway, it turns off the SR latch. So, SR latches go so fast. They're so quick when they turn on and off. They're like timers with no delay, with no 1 second countdown. So they're so quick that they send just the shortest little pulse, the shortest little amount of time that they send a signal. And by doing that, we can get a really short pulse. And then what I did is I created something like this right here. And this is a series of SR latches that connect to each other. Alright, I might have to kill this guy. Actually, this will be a good example. These are a series of SR latches that feed into each other. So when this guy dies and he sends a signal, like this, that signal, that blinks for just a second, and that signal is sent into here, which goes chain down the line, and then it chills right there. So, if I come over here now and I turn this on, there we go. We got all of them to die. So that's a way you can store inputs and track inputs when people die, and then we can empty this by basically when this signal flashes, when the enemy's signal flashes. Oh, let's turn those off really quick. It sends a signal into here and turns this on, and then we have a bunch of conditions here that look and say if this is on and this is not on, turn this off and turn this on. If this is on and this is not on, turn this on and turn this off. And then it goes all the way down the chain. And then over here, if I turn this one off, you'll see they kind of chain down the line. So we're kind of removing inputs here. So if you want something that tracks that, okay, have 6 enemies been killed yet, and when 6 enemies are killed, you want something to happen, this is a way that you can track that. So let's take a look at how to build it. Let's switch back over to creative mode. Alright, here we are back in creative mode again, and let's get to building, guys. Let's make something super cool. So let's first grab our SR latches. Those are going to be kind of the first step to getting this to work the way we want it to. So we're going to use NOR gates for our SR latches. Let's go 1, 2, 1, 2. You know what, we can even space them out a little bit just to make our lives a little bit easier. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 seems like a good number. Now, what we're going to want to do now is we're going to want to hook these up, obviously. So let's start by going like this. Top into the bottom, bottom one into the top. Top one into the bottom one into the top. And do that all the way down the line. And that just creates our SR latch. That's just like the most fundamental part of this. And that means if we put a signal into this bottom one, it turns the top one on. If we put a signal into the top one, it turns the bottom one on. Pretty simple stuff. Now, the next thing we're going to want is we're going to want to be able to tell if these are on or if they are off. So let's grab some NOT gates. Let's go ahead and put some NOT gates in here. And we want to hook up this top one to the NOT gate behind it. So let's go down the line, take the signal from that top one, feed it into the NOT gate we just placed behind it. And that'll serve as one of our conditions. And the next thing we want to do is we want to recognize when this one is on. Excuse me, when this one's off and when this one is on. So that's pretty simple. We'll just grab some AND gates. And now we have all the conditions we need to kind of make this rule. So let's say this if this top one is on, it's on, and if this bottom one is on, it's off. So if this one is on and this one is off, so basically the top one's not on. Oh, actually, you know what? Maybe we don't need these NOT gates now that I'm thinking about it. We could just use the bottom part of the SR latch. So let's do a little bit of an experiment. You know what? Let's try it without these NOT gates. If we need them, we can go back and redo it. But let's just try it without. So if the top one's on here and the bottom one's on here, then let's go ahead and turn this one on and turn this one off. And now over here, we'll kind of do the same thing. If this one is on and this one is off, then let's go ahead and turn this one off and turn this one on. So that's the basics of it. Now let's complete this really quick, and if you're following along, I would recommend you don't follow along just yet because there's one more step left to add, and we'll kind of have to redo some of this, so it might be kind of frustrating. But just for the sake of showing you guys so you know, I want to kind of do this really quick here. So if this one is on and this one is off, let's go ahead and turn this one off and turn this one on. And this one is turning this one off, turning this one on. Right, okay, there we go. I screwed it up there for a second. If this one's on, this one's off. Turn this one on, or turn this one off rather. Turn this one on. Okay, great. And then this one, I don't believe we even need the AND gate because we don't have another step. Perfect. So now, if we put some torches on top of these, oops, and hook these top ones up to it, maybe this will work. Maybe because there's one more step I normally have to add. We normally have to add some delays to get this to work properly, but I'm wondering if I might be able to do it without. So let's give it a test. The way we're going to test this is we're going to use some buttons. Oops, scroll up, please. Button. Let's do a red button and a green button. Sure. So red button to turn it off, green button to turn it on. And the way we're going to do this is this red button is going to feed into this top one. And then the bottom one is going to pop the button back up. We're going to do the opposite over here. The green button is going to turn this one on. And then the top one is going to turn the green button off. Cool. So if we come over here, we should be able to remove this input. Sure enough, we do. And over here, what happens if we press this? Ah, yes. The problem is what I thought it was going to be. All right, perfect. So we will have to do this next step because it's a little bit too fast. And I believe what's happening is that these connections can't keep up with how fast the SR latches are moving. So we just have to add a little bit of a delay. And I know what you're probably thinking, maybe thinking, why do we have to add the delay? The whole point of the SR latches is that we don't have to wait for a delay like we do with the timer. That's the whole point of the SR latch. Well, the difference is here that the SR latch is a little bit too fast. We don't have to make a whole 1 second delay. We just need a little bit of one. So we're going to bump these delays down to 0.1 seconds. And that should give us the desired result that we're looking for. And it'll allow us to not have to wait that whole second to get the result that we want also. So it should be fine. It really shouldn't be an issue. It should be fast enough. The one issue you might run into is if you're trying to do something like I did, for example, like counting how many enemies have been killed. The only issue there is that sometimes enemies die at once. And if two enemies die within that same 0.1 seconds, you only get one signal. But I haven't found a way around that yet. Oh, oops. I forgot to turn these ones down. Okay, great. There we go. So now we can turn that off. Let's go ahead and hit this. Just like that. Cool. So we can actually skip. Oh, what the crap? What's your problem? Hold on. Let me figure out what the issue is. I found it. I accidentally had this delay feeding into this delay. It was just an accident on my end. I had these delays connected. Instead of this AND gate leading into this delay, I had this delay leading into it. Oops. Just getting a little bit sloppy, that's all. So it should be working now. Yep, sure enough. Cool, so we can count, and we can remove signals. So just by using these buttons, we can count, but you can hook anything up to this. If you use the video we did yesterday, where I taught you guys how to make a short pulse, you can use that. So any kind of signal you can make, you can turn it into a short pulse and feed that short pulse into this, and it will count how many of those inputs you have. So a really easy way to create a chain of inputs, of counting inputs. And if you wanted to use this to also send signals, you could do that too. You could put like a delay on a timer over here and have it feed into this to turn it off every so often. If you want to reset it and have it just be done, what you could do is you could have a timer over here, and you could have this timer, once it's turned on, just feed into this. Oh, oops. No. Excuse me. Into the top one, rather. There we go. Have it feed into this. So if we have this turn on the timer. Yeah, it'll just turn off and it'll empty everything out. So even if we start adding things in now, they're not going to stay. But if you want to be able to empty it really fast, just have a constant signal go into this last top NOR gate. Pretty easy. Pretty cool stuff. I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. It is very useful. It's a pretty cool thing, and I think it should be able to help us do a lot of sweet things with these logic blocks. I think it's a pretty amazing technological advancement in Portal Light science. But that's it for today, guys. That's what I wanted to show you. If you guys have any questions about this, make sure you leave it in the comments section. I'll happily get to it. We've had a lot of questions in the comments section of these videos, and I really appreciate it, guys. It's super fun to talk to you about this. I really do believe this logic stuff could turn into something huge for Portal Knights. So I've been really trying to push it as much as I can. But yeah, you guys like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like I say almost every day, I'm trying to make a career out of this someday. I really would love to do this stuff for a living, making content, and you subscribing does help do that quite a lot. So please subscribe, and well, that's pretty much it. You guys, you've been a pleasure as always, and I hope you do have just the best kind of day. See you later, dudes.